How are you? Now, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt overwhelmed, defeated, and lost? Have you ever wondered if you would find your way on your path that you're traveling? Have you ever wondered why you're here? What's this life about? Have you ever wondered where you're going to go from here or how you're going to climb from a valley that you are in? If you're like me, you've been there and wondered that. Now, we have a guest today who is going to share her life story, an interesting life story. And I would like you to stay tuned to the very end. This is Now Tell Us, and I'm your host, Anthony Muirore. Today's topic is known as Walk by Faith, Not by Sight, by Michaela S. Cox. And we are going to meet our guest today. And as always, we have great guests. So this one is a great guest. And I would like you to join me as we go all the way to meet with Michaela. Here we go. Hello, Michaela.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Welcome to Now Tell Us.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and we are honored to have you here. Now, I just want to find out where is it that you are? In which part of the world?
I'm in the United States in the state of Louisiana.
And I guess it's a very beautiful place there.
It's all right.
That's a good answer. It's all right. I mean, I know that you've been into places and experienced things that will be good to share with the audience. And I love the fact that you keep on going, you keep on walking, you keep on believing, and you keep on trusting. And it's important. And that's the message that we want to pass to the viewer today. So, would like to know, were you born in Louisiana or did you move there?
No, I was born in Texas. I consider myself a Texas girl, the state of Texas.
Mm,
Y'all probably hear more about Texas than you do Louisiana, but and then my family moved from Texas to Louisiana when I was about 10, and then which was 1988, and I lived in Louisiana until 2007 when I moved to New Hampshire in the northern part of the United States on the East Coast, and lived there for 10 years. And then in 2017, I moved back to Louisiana.
mm, wow. And now you already told me my age, your age, even without telling me your age.
I'm 44. I have no shame. I don't care.
Okay, that's good. And how was it growing up when you were before you were 10 and moved? How was it in your and even after that? How was it?
You all have to move, different things, different seasons. I've moved a lot, even though I've only lived in really 3 states. But the moving wasn't so much the hard part. It was more of, excuse me, growing up with a disability. That was more challenging. So
Hmm. Which disability is it?
I was born totally blind. And then, and kind of, I was a little bit of a medical anomaly and fluke because there's no genetics and there's no family history. Like, no one else in my family has this, and my kids don't have it. So it's not really a genetic thing, but it was just something that happened. And it's originally totally born blind. And then at 7 months old, because of my background of faith and Christianity, which is where I come from, my family believes that God healed me at 7 months old and gave me sight instead of having no sight, although it's still impaired and I am legally blind. I know you come from a different part of the world, so I know what legal blindness is defined as in the States, but I've never known because I don't live overseas if that is a universal definition or if that's just the definition for the states. In the states, legal blindness, and if there's anyone in your audience that is medical, they'll know what I'm talking about, that has a medical background, you may say yourself, um, means that you see 2200 or 2400 is how you are measured with your visual acuity when you go to the eye doctor's office and those eye exams without correction. So, therefore,
Mhm.
within the parameters of that, as the law sees it, I am defined as legally blind within the law's definition of what blindness is. That's why legal blindness. So, I don't know how that translates to international definitions in different countries, but that's what it is in the States.
Oh, okay. So, meaning that without, I mean, and with when you talk about correction, it means now since you've got some side, is there a collection? Is there some way that you see better things than when you don't have? I mean, like, will the glasses work on you when you're that?
I used to wear glasses for a long time, but they kind of quit helping, so I don't really wear them anymore. But I do have better vision during the day than at night. My night vision is not as good as the daytime.
Uh-huh. That's interesting. And wow. So living with a disability. Tell us about your early experiences living with it, and maybe yeah, and tell us about those experiences and what
The
it.
main Yeah, the
Yeah.
main issue is I'm not able to drive. That's not a good thing. Driving in legal blindness, you kind of need to see to be on the road, right? So that's not a
Mhm.
good idea. Do that. Don't drive. Um, and then because of not having an optic nerve that is the way it's supposed to be, which is the root cause of the legal blindness, is my optic nerve is messed up. It causes me to take a really long time to do things. So when I was growing up in school, I always had accommodations and special things to help me do schoolwork. I don't know what y'all do internationally, but in the States, it's called an IEP, an individual lesson plan, where the school was required to give me accommodations. So depending on what school year we're talking about and what was going on, I had different accommodations all the way kindergarten through college and grad school and all the things, and what it took to get into college. So I had that to contend with while trying to do schoolwork, which I'm actually good at. It just, I have to do it differently and it takes me a long time and it takes a lot more for me to do it than someone who doesn't have legal blindness or a disability. And then, unfortunately, kids can be really cruel sometimes. So I had a lot of social issues because of that growing up. They all knew I was disabled, it wasn't a secret. Um, it was very obvious. So I had a lot of bullying and getting teased and harassed and things like that. But that's kind of how you could think of my childhood. I had a strong, good family and good, my parents to be kind of like help me get through that. But I had to contend with all that during childhood.
Hmm. And what did you take in college?
I can't do just one thing. So I got a BA in sociology with a double minor in English and history.
And in what field have you been?
I'm mainly liberal arts, and then my master's, when I earned my MA, was in political science and American government, with a certificate, graduate certificate in ancient classical history. I'm a liberal arts girl.
Ah, okay, now you get it. Now, I came across your profile and I was kind of surprised. And you're talking about being legally blind and the difficulties that you tell us that you went through, but still you achieved. You went until college, and then you've been in a career, and then I saw that you are a writer and you've written books. That's interesting.
Yes.
Oh, how many books have you written?
9, and they're published, and I have a bunch more that'll come out hopefully this year, and then I'm already writing content for 2024. So anyway, like I said, I can't
Nine.
do one thing. I'm always working on something.
Wow. Now, this is in, I mean, uh, you're younger than me. It may not have to do with age, but then I'm imagining you have 9 books. I just started writing the other day, so I have about
Ah,
my third one is coming. My third book is coming out end of this month, and it's an anthology. It's
awesome.
not all on my own. Thank you. So 9 books.
But I've always written, like, it's always who I've been. It's who I am. It's what I do. It's always been a part of me. Like, obviously, what I write now, I didn't write when I was what I wrote when I was a kid, but I remember writing a piece that was published in second grade, and I wrote my first poem when I was in fourth grade. It's just who I am. It's my essence. When I'm not writing, I'm thinking about it, or I'm planning it, or I'm doing something. So I can't imagine not writing. It's just, I think, what I was created to do and my purpose. So I just do it.
You just do it. Wow. Thanks you. Thank you. Now, to everyone who's out there who's listening or watching, you just do it. You just do it. Whatever it is that you have to do, you just do it. So says Michaela. Now, you say some of the things that you do takes you much longer than it would take someone else to do. Now, having
Right.
written 9 books, when did you get started, and how long does it take you to write one book?
Well,
I
I
mean,
actually started,
you told us that you started earlier on, yeah, in grade school. But then, when was your first work published, and yeah, how long?
I published my first book in 2011, but it was something I started writing in high school, and I kind of picked at it for 10 or 11 years because, like I said, when I'm in school, it takes me longer to do schoolwork. So, school for me and being a student is really like a full time job. I don't really have time to do anything else when I'm in school. So, I kind of had to pick at that first book for years. And when I was in grad school, I was writing all the time for professors, but I didn't have time to do my own writing because I was doing schoolwork. Um, so I collected all of these ideas and brainstorms and just creative energy and percolations in my mind when I was in grad school. And I like, okay, that has to wait. So I stored them away. And then I got out of grad school and I organized them all. And then at that time, my daughter was in first grade and my son was still at home. So I traded nap time and nighttime for what I used for grad school work for writing time. And I started writing my first books, but I published them in 2019 forward. So, oh, I don't know, in almost 4 years, I've published 8 books. And now that my kids are both in school, of school age, I have more freedom during the day, Monday through Friday during the school year to write. So I generally write in the mornings unless I have meetings. I've been on a lot of meetings this week. Um, I'll write for a couple of hours, and a lot of authors will do it by the word count, and they'll say, "Well, I want to write, I don't know, 500, 1,000 words a day, whatever."
Mm-hmm.
I don't approach it that way, which if they do, that's fine. That works for them. But what works for me is I look at the overall view of the project of a book that I'm writing. Like if I know this book that I'm writing is 40 chapters, I generally, depending on the content, type of content it is, I can write 1 or 2 chapters a day. So I'll look at the book outline and table of contents and say, okay, if this is 40 chapters and we have 5 weeks in a month, that means 20 school days, then I should, if I stay on schedule, be able to have this book written in a month. So I kind of do it like that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Uh, Walk by faith, not by sight. This is today's episode, and our guest is Michaela S. Cox. I went to her Amazon profile page and I found this book. Now I see. Wow. Is a lifetime of learned truths along my journey through life. Now I see. What book is that? What number of that book is?
It's like, that's the first one in that series, and I'm hoping to launch book two. But as far as, oh, when did I release that one? Was it 20? No, it was 2021. And I'm trying to think, I don't know what number that was in the, that might have been 7 or 8. I'm losing track. Sounds bad, but I can't remember. But I think that came out in 2021. Yeah, it did, because I launched that June. That might have been my last one, actually. So that might be book 9. I'd have to go back and think about it. But that's book 1 of that series. I have 5 series right now, and I'll hopefully have a 6th series at some point.
Oh, I look forward to that day when I will lose track of what number that book of mine was. Was it the ninth, the 10th, 20th book? So you are an inspiration in this area. Now, it's about your lifetime, your experiences,
Yes.
your lessons learned. Tell us a bit more about it.
That series is very much my own life story, and it walks people through what it was like to grow up with a disability and be legally blind or blind, and then it walks people through my first marriage that ended in divorce and what that was like, and then meeting my second husband and our life together and then losing him. So it walks people through my whole journey of what I call 38 triple D, a journey of lifelong disability, divorce, and death, all by the age of 38, and what it takes to go from surviving to thriving. And I share this story and I share this journey to hopefully empower others on their own journey in life so that they too can go from the place of just surviving to thriving and living their best life. So,
From surviving to thriving. And I don't know,
mhm.
our viewer today, in which place are you? Are you surviving or are you thriving? And what excuse do you have to be where you are, to stick there, to not grow, to not move to another higher step, to not achieve things in your own life? If Michaela has been declared legally blind, went through a divorce, had a husband and lost a husband, that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing. But and
Yeah.
you still keep on moving on and accomplishing and doing things. What gives you the strength?
My faith, my belief, my relationship, and knowing that I'm here for a reason and a purpose. And if nothing else, I still have two kids to raise. And then I was also from a young age, a lot of what I use now to help me, I learned at a young age because of the disability. I was never brought up to have excuses. I was taught and was raised to believe that you never quit, you never give up, you don't stop, you do your best, and you do what you got to do and you keep going and you get it done.
Mm.
And the Lord will
You
see
got
you through it.
Wow, the faith that you gotta do what you gotta do. And we thank all our viewers out there, or our audience. We really appreciate. If you have a comment to make, thank you for wishing us a good day, April Dobson and all the others. If you have a question, you ask, and we will be glad to answer it with our guest today, Michaela. So keep on going, don't lose hope, never give up. You gotta do what you gotta do, says Michaela. You had that right. So go do it in whatever it is that you want to achieve in life. Just go do it. I came across a number, or it's a number, yeah. And I didn't know what it means, but you're gonna tell us. And maybe you've already discussed it here, but then you're gonna define what's 38DDD.
That's what I said earlier. It was the disability, the divorce, and the death of my husband. I experienced all three of those by the age of 38 because I was
Ah,
38 when my husband passed away. Yeah.
oh yeah, okay. I said maybe you've mentioned it before. And why do you put it? I mean, why did you choose to have that somewhere? And how where do you think? Because it's just passed through my eyes that yeah, did.
Yeah, I was taking when I was getting into podcasting, I took a course on promotion and speaking, and they said you have to have a pitch, you have to have a hook to kind of give them just a little bit of your message to like tell them what it's about, and you want to grab their attention. So I thought, well, my life has been about disability, divorce, and death. That's three Ds. It happened by the age of 38. So 38 triple D people.
38 triple D. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I know you've been now, apart from these major things, and like every one of us, you've been through ups and downs, and challenges are not disability, they are not divorce, they are not dead. We have many challenges, and many people give up on lesser problems, lesser challenges than you have been through. So we thank you for coming out and sharing your story with us. 38 triple D. 38 triple D. You're inspiring someone out there. So don't stop. Keep on moving. Keep on doing it. You're an
Don't
inspiration.
worry.
And
I have a lot to
yeah,
do. A lot that I
yeah,
have to put out. So.
You have got a lot to do, and we thank you very much. Um, I looked at a few of the chapters, and I'm going to mention maybe one or two, and you tell us what's in that chapter. We have the sown seeds of my life. Tell us
I'm
about
sorry,
that.
say that again.
The sown seeds of my life. Sown seeds. The seeds sown in your life.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think because I don't remember wording it that way. I know the. Are you talking about out of the Now I See book?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now,
Okay,
and once again, let me
first.
come back. I appreciate that at some point I'm going to ask you a question that you don't know where it's coming from. And this is because you've been working very hard. You've been taking things, doing things out there. So that's in your Now I See book. The
Yeah,
sown
but
seeds.
what I do know, the first part of that book walked people. So it's chapters like 1 through 5 was like I think growing up with a disability, and then 5 through 8 was the marriage, and then no, that's not right. Okay, I have to back. 17 through 25 was grief, and then 25 through 31 was the lessons learned. So 16 through 12 was my first marriage, and then 11 through 8 was probably the disability, and there was a few introduction chapters where I'm leaving something out. So anyway, so I think of it in that way. It was I took a each section dealt with each struggle, like the growing up, the disability, and then the divorce or what led up to the divorce, and then finding my that's what it was. It was my life with my husband, how I met him and our life together, and then it was 17 through 24 was going through the grief, and 25 through 31 was the lessons that I learned through all that. That's how I did it.
Okay.
I'm not very good at math. I had to backtrack the numbers.
Now you're doing good with the 9 books. I guess each having maybe 20 chapters. That will mean that you have like 100
No,
and
there's some that have more than that. I think my first religious book had 51 chapters.
whoa, 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 whoa.
The
So we are
religious
talking.
the religious book in the Scripture Spirituality in Our Culture Today series that I hope to relaunch in January, and that second book that hopes to come out in February. I think that first book was almost 100,000 words. It was a long one.
Hmm.
I'm not known for being short, that's for sure, as far as in
So,
my
so,
words.
so when we hear you mentioning numbers, we respect you. We respect you. Now, we have several people who are watching us, and we thank you for watching. We have Mark Vos with us, and Mark has a question for you. And
Okay.
first and foremost, he thanks you for sharing your story. And then he continues to say that these days it seems to be radical to state never give up, no excuses, get it done. It appears to be offensive to many young people. What are your thoughts on that? That many young people are offended by that. Never give up, no excuses, get it
They
done.
they can be offended all they want, but it's what I've done and it's my story and it's what has allowed me to do what I had to do, because whether we want to realize it or not as a people and a society, it takes work. This is not about having the answers. This is not about or all the answers. This is not about easiness or comfort or simplicity. Life's hard, y'all. There are going to be hard things. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when, to how many and what degree. And if you want to be able to figure out what to do when they come, you need to have things in place. And that's sometimes hard and uncomfortable. But if you want to keep going and not get stuck and overcome it, you've got to figure out what you got to do and get it done. It's not going to take care of itself.
Hmm. And you better refer them to Michaela S. Cox because she's been there, done that, and faced
Yep.
challenges, come out shining. She's never stopped. She keeps on going. Thank you for that, Michaela. We appreciate that.
Yep.
And in addition to that, still from a chapter in your book, um, it talks about the fact that following the right road is no guarantee for right results. What do you say to that?
It's true. What I was referring to in that chapter is I grew up a Christian and I did what I thought was right. Like I waited I stayed true to myself and I had respect for myself, and I waited until I got married to chastity. We're taught that sex not before marriage, sex and marriage only. And in my first marriage, that's what I did. I waited till I got married, and I hope this isn't TMI, but since the question got brought up for the context of that comment, we had problems in that department, and there was an issue on his side of a pornography addiction, and so there was a lot of intimate issues. So I was taught you wait until you get married, you don't have sex outside of marriage, you find someone you love and you're supposed to be with, that God wants you to be with, and you'll have a good, there may be troubles and there may be hard times, but you'll have a good, healthy marriage and a good relationship. That didn't happen. So even though I did the right thing and I knew I did what I was supposed to, and I don't regret that. I'm proud of that. That I had respect and I lived the life that I wanted to live for me in my life, but it didn't get the result that I thought it was going to give me. And so I think sometimes that's a hard lesson to learn, that you do all the right things. And even though you do the right things because we're called to do the right things and it's the right thing to do, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you're going to get what you think you should get from doing the right things. It doesn't always work out that way. And I think that's a really hard lesson to accept and learn. You kind of knocks you on your butt when it comes your way when you're not expecting it. So I think that's hard for people, but sometimes that's the way it goes in life. But I still don't
So what,
regret my choices.
so what would you advise someone who's experiencing that, who's doing all the right things? I mean, putting in the work, waking up every day, going to whatever, and doing whatever it is that they need to be doing, but then the results are not coming. What would you say to them?
It's hard, it's frustrating, I get it. I've been there and I've experienced that in other areas as well, but if you know you're on the right path and you're in God's will, then you know you're doing what you're supposed to no matter how hard or how long it may be. I've been exhausted on my own current journey over the last 6 years of having to be a widow and a solo mom and raising two kids. I love my kids and I love I hope I'm doing right by them. And I'll know when they're 18 and 21 and grown up, but because they're 12 and 9 right now. But it doesn't make it any less hard or difficult just because I know I'm in my right place and in the right space doing the right things, but it's still hard. And I didn't want to do it this way. I didn't want that to happen, but at least I can know that I'm okay because I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can take comfort and rest in that. Although it is
Mm,
very hard, and I'm not discounting or negating that,
mm.
but you have to keep going.
You have to keep on going. And what's in the future for Michaela? What are your dreams, your visions? What is it that you have ahead of you? You see.
I'm hoping to have a lot of books out this year. Like I'm relaunching the first books in each series. I hope to stay on track and really launch new books in each series except for one. That'll wait till 2024. I'm trying to get into speaking. I want to do more podcast interviews. I hope to get paid speaking gigs eventually. I'd really like to get a TEDx talk. That's a big dream of mine right now. Raising my family, trying to enjoy life and keep following the path and creating the life I want for me and my kids to live our best life. And then I'm working on this project with a group of people called Echo. That there'll be more to come out about that in October. Throughout the year for our thing we're doing in October, hopefully that I'm really excited about that we're starting to develop. And then I'm hoping to get my coaching program off the ground. So like I said, I can't do one thing. There's always work to be done and I'm always doing lots of things. I'm very busy.
Wow, that's quite busy. That's quite a plateful.
Plus, the two kids I raised. So, there's that.
Yeah, bro. Starting with the two kids that you're raising, that's where it all starts. It starts with family, and then we go out there. Now, that's quite much, and we really appreciate you, and we thank you for being quite an inspiration. And my prayer for you is that you may achieve your dreams, achieve those the
Yeah.
vision that you have, and as you keep looking, taking care of those young ones to grow up to be responsible human beings in the society. And we thank you. I'll tell you something. Um, I've seen. Did you? Uh, what are your children? I mean, like boys and girls, or a
I have
girl,
a
or
daughter and I have a son, and my daughter is 12 in the 7th grade, and my son is 9 in the 3rd grade. And I appreciate your most gracious and kind words, but I don't know if y'all do the word of the year thing. We a lot of people, my friends, do it. I chose the word. I felt like I was led to choose the word of abundance or living abundantly this year, and that's also what I'm focused on for the 2023. So I'm hoping that'll happen in all the things we just talked about.
Living in abundance. Yeah, may they happen. Now, the reason I asked about your kids is that I've seen many single mother kids grow out to be very great men in the world, like presidents or motivational speakers and things like that. So I know that you have all it takes to bring out some great individuals from those young ones.
When my kids are of age and they leave my home, I hope they take with them the lessons that I've either just shown before them or that I've talked to them about and take those wise words and truths for their own journey. And that as long as they're seeking God and following His path for their life and doing and living out their purpose, they're called to live and happy and able to pay their bills, you do what you want. I'm good. I love you, kids. Good luck.
So all the best, and we are now coming to the end of the show. We really appreciate it's been quite an honor having you here. You
Thank
are an
you.
inspiration. You're an inspiration, quite an inspiration. And we pray for the best for you, and also for our listeners and audience. We pray for the best for you, and as long as under God's will, may it happen.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And thank you for
That's
having me. It's been a pleasure being here as well.
Yeah, so we are almost going. And before we go, we'll ask you to leave us with a few words that we will always remember. Which are they?
Okay. I always say that life is short. We all know that there's no guarantees. You get one shot at this life. So choose well and travel your journey well so that you can live your best life and thrive in life.
That's very good. Life is short. Live your best life now, says Michaela S. Cox. This has been Now Tell Us, Walk by Faith, Not by Sight. And I've been your host, Anthony Morore. And together with our guest, Michaela S. Cox, we are saying bye for now until next time. Bye.